Good morning to everybody, and thank you for joining us today. Immigration has an economic drive toward growth. The title explains itself very well. The history of Canada is organically tied to the history of immigration. We had a very difficult year, a year of COVID. Admissions to our country were definitely reduced. We have here today several people that can give us insights about the present situations and the future of immigration. Among them, obviously, the minister, as you know, Marco Mendicino, Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship of Canada. Today's event is part of the partnership that we have with RBC Royal Bank. And this is the second of the 4 sessions in which we try to discuss issues that are related to economy. Last time we had an incredible economic review and overview by David Richardson, an incredible mind, the vice president from RBC. Today, so we talk about immigration during and post-COVID. Since the 17th century, many people have set foot on the land of Canada. What we appreciate about Canada is that the economy of the nation is strictly joined to the immigration waves. I'm honored today to present Rina Pillitteri, Regional Vice President, Greater Toronto Region, Canadian Banking and Royal BC, mentor and soul of this webinar series, who will introduce Minister Marco Mendicino. Rina, please.
Thank you, Corrado, and good morning, everyone. It's an honor to virtually join you all today. Buongiorno a tutti. As mentioned, my name is Rina Pillitteri. I am the Regional Vice President for RBC Royal Bank in the Greater Toronto Region. As Canada's largest bank, we've been servicing customers and newcomers for over 150 years, and we are so proud to have developed so many ways to help new Canadians build their network, arrange for their finances, and become successful at building and establishing a new business here in Canada as well. At RBC Royal Bank, we have an RBC Newcomer Advantage program where we offer new Canadians a free online doctor visit, free international money transfers, cash for opening up a bank account, and lots of reward points that they can earn as well. We also have a new app called Arrive. This application will help access free learning tools, information, and resources to help newcomers get what they need to be successful here in Canada. Also, building a new business and coming to a new country is a very exciting journey, as we all know, a journey that is filled with lots of questions, and we at RBC Royal Bank are happy to help in any way that we can. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the Honorable Marco Mendicino. Marco is the Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship for the Government of Canada. Minister Mendicino is a proud resident of Toronto and a passionate advocate for his community. And during his first term, he championed local investments in public transit and in affordable housing and supported youth-driven programs aimed at creating more employment opportunities and safe spaces. So welcome, Minister, and I'll pass it over to you.
Grazie Rina, grazie Corrado, buongiorno tutti. It's a real pleasure to be able to join you virtually, if not in person. And I really want to thank the ICCO for all of the advocacy that you bring, not only on behalf of the many professionals and business interests that you represent, but just as a proud member and son of an Italian family and as a son of an immigrant family. I'm very, very honored to be able to participate in this discussion with you this morning. And it comes at a very sensitive moment, a delicate moment. I was just speaking before we started the call this morning with with Corrado and Rina and others who are joining. And we are in the midst of a second wave, and it has been a challenging year. And I just want to begin by saying, I hope that you are all doing well, that your families are staying healthy, that you're finding ways to stay connected, and that even though this has been a very challenging year, that I do see hope on the horizon. And one of the reasons why I'm optimistic and confident that we will overcome this difficult moment is because of the work that our government is doing in supporting people and supporting families and supporting businesses. And part of that is around driving the economic recovery out of the pandemic through immigration. And that's what I want to speak to you a little bit about this morning. I don't want to go on too long because I think we'll profit more from a good conversation where I'll hear from some questions from the panelists and others and have a good back and forth. But, you know, I recently wrote an op-ed that was published in the Vancouver Sun that talked about that very famous expression, demography is destiny. And what I meant by that is to evoke a certain idea that through our immigration policies that we can address some of the long-term demographic challenges along with the short-term economic challenges through our policies with regards to immigration. And that's why when I tabled our immigration plan for the next years, I really showcased that I believe that immigration is going to be one of the pillars of our economic recovery. What we see right now is that some of the most essential parts of our economy are suffering from labor shortages. And immigration has been and will continue to be a lifeline to fill those labor shortages. And the example that comes to mind is our healthcare system. We see increasingly that our workers are coming under pressure and strain to work around the clock to provide not only those who've been afflicted by COVID-19, but people in general to find more support. And this is where I think as we confront a second wave, that we can find a second shift through immigration. 1 in 3 of our doctors, our nurses, our pharmacists is an immigrant. And when you look beyond, you will see that there are international students who are already here, who are prepared to roll up their sleeves and step up and provide that support in addition to the newcomers that we want to bring from abroad. So I do think that there is an opportunity to help support our healthcare system through immigration. But there are many other sectors where perennially we have struggled to find domestic workforce and domestic talent. And I think here too, immigration can step up. I'm thinking about the trades. I'm thinking about building and infrastructure, where I hear from business leaders across the continuum, Marco, can you bring more people? We need more people. Look to Europe, look elsewhere. There are people who want to come. Immigration can step up. I also think about the innovation and technological sector, where we are seeing through the global skills strategy, which is an innovative pathway that we developed in conjunction with many of the private entrepreneurs, a pathway to bring immigrants here quickly. We should look at the domestic talent that is already within our borders, who are here on a temporary status, but whose contributions are lasting. Can we find ways to broaden the pathway to making them permanent residents? And not only will that help us meet our economic needs today, but it will help us address our long-term demographic challenges going into the future. And just to underscore it, I mean, my parents are of the baby boomer generation. You know, you on the call may know a few. They are you know, wonderful in having provided a great life for me and my siblings, as I'm sure many of you are. But in order to protect the covenants that we have around retirement security, we need to move the needle on the worker-to-retiree ratio, which is shrinking rapidly. In 1971, it was about 7 workers for every retiree. Today, it's closer to 3 to 1. In less than 15 years, that ratio will be down to 2 to 1. And given birth rates declining, the only way we're going to address that is through immigration. So I think that there is a very positive narrative here that both allows us to leverage immigration in a way that will meet our economic needs today and also address those long-term challenges so that we can be a prosperous country. You know, I'll give one last example before I conclude. Yesterday, I announced a new policy that will invite young graduates from Hong Kong to consider Canada as a destination and a country of choice. It's made against the backdrop of a very challenging situation in Hong Kong, one in which we are seeing increasingly complex developments around human rights. And so that is one other example of how we have introduced in Canada a very nimble and agile way of inviting the best and the brightest from around the world to consider Canada as a place to pursue a better life. I mean, this is one of the hallmarks that I think have brought all of us here today. And I think together we can pursue a narrative that is positive, that is inclusive, even as we fight a second wave of COVID-19. And together, that is the course that I'd like to see us chart forward, where immigration and the economy go hand in hand and we build a stronger Canada together. Grazie, Corrado. Back over to you.
Thank you, Honorable Mendicino. Thank you very much. I want to inform you that today we have a very interesting audience, companies from Italy, companies from Europe, and companies obviously from Canada. So an international attendance. The issue is definitely international. We're opening new frontiers, new gates, and immigration is shaping according to the new society. And the COVID has contributed to create a new society. We have today two interesting people really from RBC. The bank has always been sensitive to the issue and has created several programs aimed to small and medium business that arrive to Canada or are willing to move here. Here with us today we have Amit Sadhu, Vice President Personal Lending and Newcomer segment at RBC. Amit leads the Newcomer segment team, which is the largest segment within RBC, and he is responsible for meeting the unique needs of clients who are new to the country or in the process of getting here. We also have Sandro Giannini, Manager Business Markets from RBC, more than 30 years in financial services, personal and business banking. Amit and Sandro are going to give us an introduction to some of the programs that RBC is offering. Please.
So thanks, Corrado, for the kind introduction and the Honorable Minister for your thoughtful remarks. We at RBC are heartened by the bold immigration goals that the Minister released last week. And I would say I myself immigrated to Canada 12 years ago. And my parents immigrated here 3 years ago, so these resonate with me. As Rina mentioned, everybody knows that RBC is the largest bank in Canada with the most branches in every nook and corner of the country. We at RBC are also very passionate about being the bank of choice for our newcomer clients. Our solutions for newcomers have been designed by former newcomers like me and have three components. So first, we have a complete Newcomer Advantage banking package that includes no monthly fees for 12 months, 2 free international money transfers each month for 12 months, and unsecured credit cards with limits up to $10,000 without any credit history. And if you want an auto loan or a mortgage and don't have a credit history, we have solutions for you. We want to work with you. The second component of our solution is that we want to ensure that newcomers have opportunities to seek advice. And I don't mean just advice for banking. For example, we have a newcomer meeting place in Brampton where newcomers, even non-RBC clients, can come and seek advice on anything. So, for example, what kind of certifications do I need to practice medicine in Canada? Which schools should I send my kids to? So anything. The meeting place doesn't even look like a branch. And finally, the third component, we have invested in some unique beyond banking solutions for our clients. So for example, in some provinces, newcomers are not covered by provincial health insurance plans in their first 90 days. So RBC has partnered with a health technology company to pilot a 1 free virtual doctor visit offer for our newcomer clients. So we are truly a bank that not only cares for the financial health, but also the physical health of our clients. Similarly, we have created a solution called Owner for New Entrepreneurs that acts as a valid service for all, for all the steps that a new business owner has to do in order to register one's business. So for RBC clients who are sole proprietors, we even bear all the costs apart from the government fees. So just to conclude, we at RBC have solutions that really help newcomer clients prosper in their new home. And with that, I will hand it over to Sandro to talk about the business banking solutions that we have. Sandro?
Buongiorno tutti. Good morning, and thank you, Amit. We at Royal Bank know that starting a business in Canada is both exciting and challenging, and we're here to help. And we lead with advice. It's more than just opening a bank account. We have dedicated small business advisors and specialized commercial account managers by industry to sit down with you and understand what your business is, your business model, and how we can offer advice and help your business grow in Canada as here. We discuss more than just borrowing. People just say, how can I borrow? What's the borrowing? There's so much more. Even within borrowing, we will discuss about what are the options for leasing, business credit cards, right? But it's more important than that. We help you understand what are the costs of starting up a business. We have calculators that will help with that. And once you have your business running, we then get it down. You need to get paid. We help you collect from your clients, and we help you pay, make your payments. We help you with free invoicing and accounting as well. We have numerous digital options that will make it easy and convenient for you to do the day-to-day banking so that you can focus on your business, which is what you really want to do. Leave the banking to us. We have a lot of mobile banking options as well because we're all on the road. A lot of businesses now are mobile, and that's fine. We can help you with point of sale if you need to get a web access on that. A lot more and more of Canadian businesses are doing business internationally. And here we can assist you with wiring money around the country, purchasing foreign exchange, and trade services, letters of credit if you're doing a lot of importing from other countries or exporting as well on that. So we help you manage your day-to-day banking. We help you collect and make your payments. We look at helping you borrow money to grow your business. We look at your cash flow and help understand your cash flow. And we help you do business internationally. We offer, again, many services and products. One that we have is through an affiliation we have with Owner. Here, if you register your company within so many days with Royal Bank, or with the government, then we will reimburse your fees for the registration costs in Ontario, Alberta, and British Columbia. So this is a way, and they'll also help you with web design, and they'll also help you with your logo on that. But this is really about where the dedicated business advisors come in. Here in Canada, you should meet with a business account manager and really become partners. Make sure they know what your business is trying to do and what your plans are for the business. We can also then introduce you to many of the government programs that are available to you to open a business in Canada, whether you're already here or you're coming from abroad. We will introduce you and with our working partnerships with the numerous Board of Trades, the Business Improvement Associations, the Chamber of Commerce, the ICCO, business enterprise centers that are throughout the country. We work also with Futurepreneur, which helps businesses, young businesses, and those under the age of 39 get financing for their new business. We work with United Canada to help you grow your business through the pandemic and how we can help with some of the costs associated with what's happening today. And then we look at what grants may be available to you for your business, specific to your industry. So it's not, a lot of this is unique to Canada. If you're joining us from abroad, the best thing you can do is sit down, get to know your business account manager as your partner in this so that they can give you the right advice. Opening a business account in Canada can be easy, but it can also be a little bit on the complex side. If you're already in Canada, it becomes a lot easier. If you're trying to open a bank account from offshore, say from Italy or anywhere around the world, then it can get a little more complex because documents that requested have to be translated to English. We have to have proper approved lawyers that vet the information because the owners of the business are not in Canada. But we try to make that as easy as possible because together we are stronger and we want everyone to prosper. And that's the only way that we're going to all move forward on that. So my recommendation is involve your bank in your plan. Don't be a stranger. Have regular conversations that we are all in this together. Thank you very much, Corrado.
Thank you, Sandro. Thank you, Amit. Fantastic pieces of advice in particular for companies that are planning to come here. And as we know, there is a flow of international companies, always interesting. to reach out to come to Canada. I would like to ask a question to the minister before we go to our special guest. In one of your, minister, in one of your press releases, you wrote the pandemic has highlighted the contribution of immigrants to the well-being of our communities and across all sectors of economy. If I'm not wrong, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, you've been announcing a series of programs. Would you be able to elaborate on this concept?
Well, thank you. And as I said, Corrado, I mean, just a little less than 2 weeks ago, in fact, I think it was 2 weeks ago today, I announced our immigration plan for 2021 to 2023, which sets our levels for 401, 411, and 421,000 immigrants over the next 3 years. And just to explain a little bit why we've set the goal for that, 2020 has created significant disruptions, not only in immigration, not only in government, but right across the economy and in every facet of life. And so we think by the end of 2020, we will hit roughly 50% of our immigration target. And I think that that is a remarkable accomplishment, given the fact that we've had to close our borders to all but the most essential travel. So given that the shortfall will be roughly 150,000, we've taken that number and we have amortized it over the next 3 years. And I'm confident that we can make up for that lost ground. Now, the contribution, the way in which we're going to hit those goals, I think, fall into 2 categories. One, conventional new immigration from abroad. And even though the borders are closed, we look forward to that day when we can open them up again. But in the meantime, also looking at domestic temporary immigration. I think this gets right to the heart of your question, which is how are we seeing aspiring Canadians already contributing? Look at where our workers are, our temporary immigrant workers in Canada. They too work in the healthcare sector. And so these are made up of people who are providing nursing support on the front lines, personal support workers. You also have another category of temporary immigrants in international students. Now think for a moment, if you've come to Canada probably to study, you're probably younger and smarter than most of the other competition because you're attending an institution here. So if you're taking a degree in the healthcare sector or in the tech sector, those are 2 key areas which are going to drive our economy forward. And throughout the pandemic, we've made some policy modifications to both of those categories, namely temporary workers and international students, that allow them to contribute. So they're already here, they're already contributing. Why not accelerate the pathway to becoming permanent residents? And by doing so, we will achieve our goal more quickly and more efficiently. And so that's part of the vision in driving the economy forward through immigration, domestic temporary immigration.
Thank you, Minister. We're going to the core, let's say, to the debate, which will involve 2 CEOs from 2 major companies from Italy. Italy, as you know, is heavily present in Canada, not just in terms of import-export, but also in terms of financial investment and in building business realities. First person, Fabrizio Secco, as VP Industrial Operation Canada at Ferrero Canada Ltd. Ferrero is known globally for its iconic brands, including Nutella, Ferrero Rocher, Tic Tac, which are made locally in Canada for the North American market. Since 2005, when its plant in Brantford was first built, it has invested millions of dollars in its plant, expanding its footprint and further supporting the Canadian economy. As a large employer, it employs over 1,500 people in Ontario, up to 1,400 just as its manufacturing plant. Access to labor is important to them, and immigration plays an important role. So that's why we're glad to have them join us. And when I want to introduce now the other guest, Giulio Galleri, from Chief Executive Officer at Bonatti Canada. Another massive presence of Italy here. Bonatti is a general contractor providing services to the oil, gas, and power industry. The activities range from engineering to construction and operation and maintenance of plants and pipelines. Bonatti is currently building approximately 250 kilometers of the coastal gas link pipeline in BC and is providing project management services in JV with Stantec for the Trans Mountain Expansion project. Bonatti Canada will have around 650 Canadians and 70 expatriates employed by the end of the year, and has invested 70 million Canadian dollars in equipment for its Canadian operation. Furthermore, Bonatti has committed 150 million Canadian dollars toward Canadian subcontractors for 2019 and 2020, and will be delivering specializing training to local and First Nation peoples. Bonatti plans to expand its business in Canada to include construction of facilities, operation and maintenance services and renewables. I thank you very much, both of you, for being here. And I will start with Fabrizio, who has a couple of questions. I know Giulio has others, and we have many questions already from the attendants to the minister. Fabrizio, please.
Yeah, thank you, Corrado, for your kind introduction. I don't think I need to add anything about our company. I think everyone knows our love brands like Nutella, Tic Tac, Rocher, and so on. I want to really thank the Italian Chamber of Commerce, first of all, and RBC for organizing and hosting this event. And of course, thank you very much, Minister Mendicino, to be open and available today for this discussion on such an important matter, also for manufacturers like our company. So my first question actually is related to bureaucracy and red tapes. Since the beginning of our operation here in Ontario, we have been working with Immigration Canada to bring people from overseas. Of course, experts, internal experts, because we also have some specific technology, and sometimes it's difficult to fill all the roles with local. So we have also expats and people coming from Europe, from our network in Ferrero. So we have seen definitely the amount of red tape and level of bureaucracy even before COVID increasing. So more lead time is required, more paperwork, a lot of back and forth, and also very often, always, I would say, we need to engage also external counsel in order to support us to really make this process happen. Of course, this is an impact for a business like us, not only in terms of extra cost, but also in terms of timing and delays and so on. So it's really a relevant impact. So my first question is, are you working to add resources to the team or to improve efficiencies in order to reduce the wait times and to support then businesses and operations in this? Since, of course, as you also mentioned, the access to foreign labor can be very critical also for the Canadian businesses. And secondly, also, as a large company, we have the possibility to access external counsel and people that are supporting us with extra cost, but we can afford it. But what about people from overseas or smaller businesses that may not have access to this help? So how do they manage with the increased red tape and bureaucracy? Thank you.
Grazie, Fabrizio, for your leadership, most importantly for your ongoing production of Nutella, which is one of the most popular brands in my house with my two children. And I'll admit, both me and my wife sometimes have a spoonful as well. Look, you ask an important question, which is something that we are extremely focused on in my department at IRCC, and particularly now in the midst of a year where there has been significant disruption and interruption to service. And like you, I'm sure we are doing everything we can to innovate new solutions. But let me take a step back before I get into some of the details on how we are doing with regards to processing and reducing some of the inefficiencies and the red tape that you talk about. I see in the future an immigration system that will move away fundamentally from being still very much a paper-based process to a process that is digital and touchless and very much client friendly. And I want to see us transform that system as quickly as possible. And what the pandemic has done is it has shone a light on the need to drive that transformation so that we can be a country that is attractive for business, that is attractive for newcomers, that makes us competitive, particularly because we want to be we want to be leading the pack. And the people-to-people ties between Canada and Italy and Europe are a great example on how we can I think move that conversation forward and move progress forward in reforming our system. Now, I will say this: in the spring, when we had to shut the border and we had to basically shut down many services, we were right here at the bottom of productivity. But we are a long way from there. And we are, in fact, in some of our lines of business, becoming more efficient than where we were at before COVID hit. And that is because we are, I think, learning and taking away some lessons on how we can improve our processes. I'll give you a couple of examples. The way that we are processing requests for people who want to come to Canada in COVID. We are making them more digital. Secondly, with regards to our landing process, for people who are looking to become permanent residents, we are taking certain stages of that journey towards becoming a Canadian, which are conventionally in person. So you actually have to show up to an office. And we are looking to make them digital so that we can do it the same way that we are having a conversation right now. And that is going to dramatically increase our efficiency and shorten the timelines for achieving positive milestone outcomes. And then finally, with regards to our citizenship ceremonies, that is something that we have historically conducted in person. Now, I will tell you, it's a very special moment that when you get to welcome somebody into the family of citizenship. But the pandemic has taught us that we can conduct those citizenship ceremonies virtually as well. And I got to participate on July 1st in Canada's first ever simultaneous coast-to-coast virtual citizenship ceremony. We should be doing more of that. We should be having citizenship tests online as well. And I hope to be having more to say about that. And my point to you is that by adding resources, leveraging technology, and streamlining our processes and reducing red tape, I think coming out of the pandemic and COVID-19, we're going to be the best immigration system in the world. That's the vision.
Thank you, Minister. Fabrizio, do you have a follow-up question for the Minister, or we shift to Giulio maybe, and then we all together summarize, the debate so far?
Yeah, I have actually kind of a follow-up second question, more about labor shortages. Since Minister Mendicino also mentioned in his introduction this important topic, this is something that it's vital for businesses like Ferrero, also here in Ontario. So definitely, even with the higher unemployment, unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we are still understaffed, especially when we look at our skilled workers, skilled trades. So this is really something that is eventually in the future keeping our business not able really to grow. We wanna still continue to invest in Ontario. We are committed to Ontario and to Canada. We wanna continue to grow also in terms of production volumes, but we have an internal competition also for other Ferrero factories that can supply North America, of course. So this can be really a constraint for us in the future to continue to expand our facility here in Brantford. So my question is really more about how we can manage also from an immigration standpoint to help the newcomers to relocate not only in the big cities like Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver, but also to the more rural and eventually far from the big cities situations like we have here in Brantford, because this is becoming really a struggle, the access to the labor, and especially talking about skilled trades and skilled workers more in general. So I would love to have your opinion on this point, Minister Mendicino. Thank you very much.
Ancora grazie, Fabrizio, per la questione. Look, I would take the first part of your question, and if I could record it and clip it and show it to the whole world in Canada, I would. Why? Because you put your finger on, I think, the most important part of this discussion, which is that immigration creates jobs. When you talked about how, despite the high unemployment, you still have labor shortages, it points to the fact, the simple fact, that we need to continue to leverage immigration to fill those gaps so that we can get our economy going again. And by attracting people with the skills, the experience, the talent that you need to keep your business growing, you're creating other jobs. And that's how we have those spin-off economies in Canada. And I think the second part of your question is equally important, namely, how do we distribute immigration outside of the major city centers? Because if we never said another promotional word about immigration, people would still come and relocate to Toronto and Vancouver and Montreal. But what about some of the other regions and some of the rural parts of Canada? And we have pilots in place, pilot pathways, like, for example, the rural and northern immigration pilot. We have an Atlantic immigration pilot. We have a new program, which we hope to onboard, called the Municipal Nominee Program, where we partner very specifically with parts of the country that need immigration to both meet the needs of today, but also to keep their populations replenished and rejuvenating for the long term. And by partnering with local businesses like yours and others, we can align the gaps in the economy with the specific skill set that is required from abroad. And that helps us to distribute the immigration. And I'll lastly point out that we can also do the same in our partnerships with the provinces. And the provinces get an allocated number of spots every year as part of our overall immigration plan. So regionally, they can distribute immigration as well based on the feedback and the important input that they're receiving from you and other businesses. So those are just a number of ways in which we're distributing immigration. But the key thing was the very first part of your question, which is we need immigration to keep our business growing.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you. Giulio Galleri from Bonatti, Canada, different company, different kind really of products. So what are the issues that a company like Bonatti, Canada faces today in Canada?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank Minister Mendicino for taking the time to talk to us today, and the Italian Chamber of Commerce and RSBC to make this happen. It was actually interesting to listen to our colleague from Ferrero, because it looks like that some of the issues they are having are actually the same issues we are having. So these are horizontal across a number of industries. For Bonatti Group, the ability to bring some expertise to Canada for the startup and consolidation of the activities is crucial, matter of fact. And it's part of our approach, our sustainable approach to transfer knowledge and create competencies in this country. COVID restrictions indeed became a major obstacle and increased the uncertainty around international mobility. This is another matter of fact. In our industry, unfortunately, it's not always possible to plan in advance, and a certain level of flexibility is necessary to support our clients. We are talking about projects of national interest, huge investments at stake. Corrado mentioned some figures earlier. To this purpose, we have a couple of points we would like to raise concerning how immigration is affecting Bonatti in this very particular period. And I would like to go ahead with both questions. The first one is, Bonatti requires a number of intra-company transfers to support its operations in the country, but COVID restrictions have significantly impacted the immigration process in times. Is it possible to ensure a shorter turn around for applications? In our case, for the most coordinated through the Canadian consulate in Italy. And my second question is actually linked to the previous point. We really need IRCC to ensure the 2 weeks fast track process for the global skills strategy is met. As we heard, that could be a possibility.
Grazie, Giulio, and thank you for your advocacy and for highlighting the importance of the ability of people to cross international borders so that they can come and contribute the competencies and the skills that are necessary to keep businesses growing. And again, just to set the broader context, what I take from your question and from Fabrizio's is a real desire to ensure that Canada can remain competitive. And that is very much in line with my vision, and I think this government's vision, that notwithstanding COVID-19, that we are finding ways to keep people moving across our international borders. At the same time, we have to be very clear-eyed that we are still in the midst of this pandemic, that we are now confronting a second wave, which could be worse, is worse than the first wave, and that in order to maintain the high degree of public confidence in our borders and our immigration system and public safety, that we need the resources and the protocols that are in place so that when we are creating pathways, whether it's for visitors, for workers, for family, that we are confident that we have addressed all of the risks that we want to reduce and completely mitigate with regards to this pandemic. Now, against that backdrop, I will say that it's important that we find ways to maintain, I think, a very efficient turnaround on issuing paper. So if your people need a visa, whether it's under the global skills strategy or whether it's under another pathway, my expectation is that we are meeting those service standards. And if we are not, then we try to troubleshoot those cases. And I will say to you and to anybody else who asks, if you have an issue, please contact my office. We will try to work through it together. Sometimes, you know, there are issues that can be resolved and other times there are not. But we are certainly very much prepared to collaborate with you. I think the second thing is, you know, I thank you for mentioning the global skills strategy, because it is under that initiative that we have welcomed over 40,000 highly skilled workers who are already in Canada. And we'd like to transition them to becoming permanent residents. But we'd also like to continue to see that that is a funnel for talent that you need to grow your business. So I think it's a good question. And I think I've already sort of spoken to how we are leveraging technology to become more efficient and transforming the system, and all very much towards a view to keeping Canada competitive.
Thank you, Minister. We have several questions from the public. I beg everybody to be patient. I would like to ask a question to Giulio and to Fabrizio. And, you know, if I'm not wrong, immigration is strictly related to another kind of immigration, which is the financial capital. There's a human capital and there's a financial capital that come to a country. How was, when you decided and you chose Canada, how was Canada? Is Canada the forefront in attracting investments and immigrants? You are a world traveler, you work in companies that have been investing all over the world. How did you find, how was Canada when you start to approach our nation?
Fabrizio, do you mind if I go first?
Please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think coming to Canada actually implies two choices, a business choice and a personal choice. When Bonatti came to Canada, Bonatti saw Canada as a very attractive market. And this is confirmed today. You know what we do. We build pipelines and facilities, and we ensure some other services in the oil and gas industry. And we see a lot of future here. And we see a very fertile terrain for us to grow in the country. The other aspect I would like to emphasize is that Canada is a country you choose to live in. So it's not only a matter of business. You come to Canada because you see your potential developing in the country and your people living happy in the country.
Yeah, I can add a few comments as well, but I can reiterate definitely Giulio's message. When we decided to have the biggest Ferrero plant overseas, we decided for Canada more than 15 years ago. So I think this speaks by itself. So definitely is a country where investments are welcomed. There is also opportunity to get also support from federal, from provincial government about grants and the loans and so on. So that's definitely good. And definitely also from a personal standpoint, most of the Italian expats, and also not only Italian, but also from other countries that came here already Ferrero employees, that came here in 2005 to start up the operation. Actually, they decided to live in Canada and to grow their families here in Canada. And today they are all Canadian citizens. So I think it's definitely, it speaks by itself. So. Yeah.
Thank you, Giulio. Thank you, Fabrizio. We go to the questions now of the public. The first one is, has a regulated immigration consultant? I receive a lot of requests from nurses and doctors, but getting approval to work here is a long path. How can you help negotiate with the professional boards?
Well, it's so relevant to be talking about this issue around foreign accreditation, and there are some things that IRCC can do that are completely within our purview and our control, and there are some things where we require the buy-in and the cooperation of other partners, including provinces and provincial regulators. And so what I think this question demonstrates is that it is long overdue for us to have a national conversation around foreign accreditation. No one level of government can resolve the problem. No one level of government is responsible for it. What we need is, I think, we need a first principles discussion about how it is that we recognize the qualifications of people who have been educated from all over the world, who wish to then come and ply their profession or trade in Canada. I'll give you an example. My profession, which I was a lawyer before I got in, but even within Canada, it has taken a very long time for the respective law societies of each province and territory to come together under an umbrella organization called the Federation of Law Societies to harmonize our professional standards that allows now practice just about anywhere in Canada, so long as they meet those basic requirements. Now think about that approach in the context of the entire world, and I think you start to get at why it's really important that if we want to be competitive, if we want to accelerate integration of people who are nurses, doctors, engineers, other trades as quickly as possible, that we need to expedite that by having a foreign accreditation system that is very, very competitive. And all I can say is I'm committed to having that conversation and dialogue with my partners so that we can make progress on it.
Thank you, Minister. Because we have many questions, may I assure the attendants that eventually these questions will be answered by your office? Will it be possible to send them?
That's right. I was going to say, I don't know if I'll be able to get to them all today. We'll get to them.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a question for Honorable Mendicino, another from the Buongiorno. There are hundreds of immigrants who have entered Canada in the last 20 years who do not have and not been able to leverage their past experience and enter the Canadian workforce in similar roles at similar levels. With the understanding of the new programs mentioned by you, Minister, what programs are in place to support immigrants once they enter Canada to secure positions that reflect their homeland experience?
Well, thank you for the question. And I think in some ways, it actually is an extension of the answer that I just gave. So where people come to Canada hoping to work in the area of their education and their work experience from abroad, but can't find work because they don't meet the credentials or they don't have the professional recognition. As I said, we need to find a way to, I think, make progress on that issue around foreign accreditation. But this question also allows me to expand a little bit on the services that we offer newcomers, which begins before they even come into the country. And this is why the OECD has recognized that Canada is the best in the world at beginning the process of integration. We have online services that allow people to start to orient themselves to the Canadian experience. I'll give you an example where for international students who were not able to come because of the pandemic, what I'm seeing in the post-secondary sector from colleges to universities is that they are setting up virtual tours and digital orientation to facilitate that integration. That's a good example that I think we can scale up and replicate right across the economy. But, you know, there's no question that there will be many, many instances where an immigrant's skill set is not aligned to the work that they have available to them. The answer is, I think, faster integration, a more competitive way at recognizing foreign credentials, and making sure that our settlement services have both the mandate and the support for newcomers in language, in orientation, so that they can navigate the system. And I think, frankly, Corrado, the ICCO is wonderfully positioned to help contribute to that dialogue, because your members, your community are the ones who are on the front line. Like the observations made by Giulio and Fabrizio about aligning those pathways so that skills match labor gaps, I think will allow us to make progress on this issue as well.
Many questions, but one question that is interesting from, let me tell you this story. A few months ago, an Italian company asked us, they were interested to come in the artificial intelligence, they were interested to come to Canada, and which we helped them, and they decided to come. And then end of February, the company got stuck in Italy as a company from Milan. Today they write us telling, is it predictable, the right time to start a Canadian, I guess it means, is this a good time to start a Canadian adventure in 2021?
Is this a good time to what? Sorry, Corrado? You got
Start a Canadian adventure in 2021.
Naturally. Look, I'm an optimist. I believe that, you know, notwithstanding the challenging moment which we're very grasped with in government, as I'm sure you are in business and right across many aspects of life. But one of the gifts of the portfolio that I get to represent in government is that it allows you to look beyond the present moment and to plan for the future and to look over the horizon. And from where I sit, by looking at immigration and by growing our population, we are charting out a course to prosperity and to growth. That is the adventure. And, you know, we've been writing the story of that adventure since before Confederation. And each and every one of us that is on this call has a verse in that chapter with our narratives. Whether you're talking about your family or your business or your community, we're all contributing to that narrative. So yes, I believe on the whole that the arc that we are all contributing towards bends towards being adventurous. We are in a difficult moment, but we have to, I think, be in solidarity about the Canadian adventure, as you put it, because that's how we'll become more prosperous and more competitive. And that's certainly the spirit in which I am lending my own contribution to public life and work.
Thank you, Minister. I have several questions here. I was wondering if the panel wants to say something, other questions from the panel, before I go to another question to the board. I'm not sure, Richard, how much time we have and how much time the Minister has. Does the panel want to say something? Sandro, Amit, Fabrizio, Giulio?
So I guess the only question I can ask to the Honorable Minister is, you obviously have, given some very thoughtful responses. Are there areas where you can see, like, us in Canada, like, the private enterprises, the banks playing a bigger role in helping government, solve some of these issues that newcomers face in the country? Like, what would you like us to help you out, Minister, with?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, and I remember we were speaking just before we started, and you were talking about your parents who just came a few years ago. I mean, there are many examples from the questions that have been posed today from which I think we can pull out strands that when you weave them together, form a positive narrative about immigration. So if I have one ask, it's that we continue collectively to advocate for smart, selective, and safe immigration going forward, because that is how we are going to propel our economic recovery, and that is how we are going to address the long-term questions around our prosperity. So governments sometimes make the mistake of bearing the total burden on our shoulders. We need to share that responsibility together. And you and others on the call, I think you speak with great authority about how immigration is a driver. So that's my ask back to you.
Thank you, Minister. Last question from the board. I represent an Italian innovative startup, Pending B Corp, that works on innovative processes and products in the agri-food domain. We actually are working with the local government on reskilling and upskilling unemployed by means of artificial intelligence. We're just working on a COVID outplacement action in which all players are involved. Richard, I can't see the, are you thinking to make public soon the cluster of skilled workers you need?
This is a fantastic question, and there are two initiatives that I want to highlight in response. One is that we have our own agri-food immigration pilot, which seeks to, again, align people who have expertise in this very area with the needs of the community. And I know that we've made some progress on that. But the other is the agri-food cluster, which is an initiative that was announced by my colleague, Minister Baines, at the Innovation, Science and Economic Development portfolio, where we are bringing together a group of industry leaders to really write that next era of agri-food innovation, so that we can be competitive, so that we can really ensure food security. And again, here, immigrants are playing a vital role. I mean, nearly 1 out of every 2 workers in the food sector is from abroad. And without the contribution of them, we would not have the food security that we need. So on all of these areas, I think that the theme that has run through them is that immigration is vital. It's playing an essential role. And our plan, Corrado, is very much focused on leveraging that so that we can create jobs, create growth, and be that competitive and innovative country that will make Canada the choice. I really liked what Fabrizio said, like the dual aspects of both wanting to be a business here in Canada that's competitive, but also what makes us attractive is that people appreciate the Canadian quality of life. And so I see that our immigration plan is very much in line with both of those dimensions that Fabrizio highlighted.
Minister, thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Marco Mendicino, Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship. I guess, we're challenging. We're going to see some very interesting time, more people in Canada, more jobs, obviously, and, I think we're all on board. I would like to thank, first of all, Rina Pilliteri, Regional Vice President, Greater Toronto Region, Canadian Banking, RBC Royal Bank. Thank you, Rina. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Sandro. You've been great, fantastic. Thank you again. And obviously, Fabrizio Secco and Giulio Galleri. Fabrizio Secco from Ferrero, Giulio Galleri from Bonatti, Canada. Thank you for your contribution. This is the end. I must add Richard Bressan, our coordinator. He did a fantastic work. These things would have not happened without him. Our stage director, Isabella Vecchiarella, and all the staff of the office, ICO Canada. Thank you very much and have a great day. Thank you.
Grazie a te, Corrado. A presto. Ciao.